Hello there, chatters. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Today, I've already been on a flight, I'll be honest with you today, but sadly, the recording thing that I used didn't work. So, my wonderful flight through Storm Babet, whatever it's called, to from Newcastle to Liverpool here didn't save. I'm not the happiest bunny, but we get to fly back now. Which will be nice. You can see in Liverpool there are patches of blue sky trying to peek through. The weather down here is not as bad as it was at Newcastle when we left. The rain's quite heavy, but that won't pose a problem for us today. Okay, let's jump outside just for a moment. Look at this. So I have figured out a secret that allows you to get great frame rates and... Ooh, that's a nice effect with the sunlight bouncing up onto the plane, isn't it? That's lovely. Good frame rate and no jagged edges on the wings. This is the holy grail of X-plane. I don't know, this is what we've been waiting for a while anyway. So I'll show you that in another video, but for now let's just enjoy the visuals. We have auto-ortho. Did I switch auto-ortho on? Yes, we have auto-ortho, so if I zoom out, if I do it this way, sorry if you can hear me dragging my mouse around, we should be able to see proper colours of the grass, hugging the roads, proper tones for autumn. Yeah, it looks very bleak and miserable because of the weather. Liverpool, I've never been, but I've heard Liverpool is actually a very nice city to visit, and their airport is here, so let's fly from it. So the aircraft is currently parked up. It has all of its tie downs on because I've set it up like this. Let's do a quick flight up to Newcastle. It's going to take about an hour and 15 minutes. Remove the covers, remove the tie downs. This tug has got a habit of just parking up and then driving straight through my plane. There we go. There he goes. This is why I've got crashers turned off, because... Could you hear that reversing? That's crazy. Okay, let's jump into the plane. I may turn down that rain a little bit. So, if we go into Avi tab, go into charts, go up a level, go down to EGGP to Newcastle. No, that doesn't resize, that's annoying. Liverpool to Newcastle, we're flying the Kodiak, November 330 Alpha Kilo. A lot of this doesn't really make a lot of sense to us today. The one that's important is block fuel, £715. So let's just quickly go into the flight configuration, into customize. That went very quiet all of a sudden, didn't it? Just make sure we've got fuel. What was it, 700 and something? Oh no, I can't click on that again. My memory is terrible. I'm going to put 800. I'm going to put 900 in just in case we need to circle because of Storm, whatever it's called. Well, let's say 715. Okay, we've got quite a lot of reserve fuel, but so we'll only use £288. That'll give us 51 minutes of fuel. But there we go. Okay, so since the last very embarrassing video, where basically I demonstrated without any argument, without doubt, that I have got no idea how to operate this. I've done a lot of flying in the Daher Kodiak 100 and I really like it, I will be honest with you, and I've learnt to use it a bit better. So let's do a quick flight, turn on the master and the avionics bus, go into here. If we go to, if I can remember how to do this, if we go into flight plan, click on the right hand side when it's a small arrow, or is it a big arrow? Maybe you have to click in the middle and then small arrow or big arrow. Come on, help me out here. There was a way of getting the flight plans to show. But I can't quite remember how you do that. Where's that gone? Menu. If I click back in there, then that becomes unselected. Is there somewhere where we can nudge it left or right? Is that a thing? No. Aha, there we go. So, if we now click in the middle, that should allow us to select. And if we go down to EGGP, that's Liverpool, EGNT 01, hit enter. That should now, you can see that white line, that's our route. So we're going to leave Liverpool. We'll add a procedure, so we're going to select the departure. Enter. We are going to fly the Pole Hill 5 Victor departure off runway 09. Load, enter, there we go. So we've now got a nice departure all programmed in. We have a direct to runway 09, so when we get to runway 09, this white line will turn magenta, and that will be the beginning of our flight. Yes, I know I have an old AirAC, that's absolutely fine. So the selected nav1 is the ILS for runway 09 here at Liverpool. So if we need to do an immediate return to field, then we can just come back on the ILS because the weather is a bit sketch. We have on standby on ILS 1 111.5, which is the ILS for Newcastle if we can get in, but the weather is looking a bit bleak. Okay, so we're currently running on the battery. Let's get on the power at the moment. Just double check that we've got everything plugged in. Rudder pedals are plugged in. That all looks fine. I've got a light on my yoke, which means so I've got a Cytec yoke system with a throttle quadrant and rudder pedals, which is why you can see the rudder pedals moving. But yeah, let's get the engines moving. So last time I made a bunch of mistakes, and primarily it was not knowing how to use this throttle quadrant. I was a bit of a div, to be honest. So this thing here is sort of a backup throttle. You just leave it in normal unless the main throttle fails, in which case you use that to have full emergency power. And you can see if I've got it on full, over here you get, it basically complains saying that you've got emergency power activated, but we don't want that. What we want is we want to move the condition lever into low idle, which is what we'll use on the ground. So if I can figure out how to meander this down here, there we go, kind of works. I'll just move the prop out of the way, so you can see here we've got low idle, and for some reason it says height idle. Interesting. If we move that into the low idle gate there, that'll give us enough power for when we're taxiing around the airport. And we also want the prop to be down here in feathered mode for takeoff. I did all sorts of wrong things with this last time. So the throttle, if we have the prop setting in the right position, then the throttle we can just use like a normal prop, like a normal throttle in a Cessna, like what I fly. So to get the engine started, we need that condition lever in low idle, we need the prop feathered, we need the throttle back, and the thing that I've forgotten to do is switch on the fuel. Fuel from the right wing and fuel from the left wing. Okay, now we are going to use the battery to start the engine. If we push down to low motor, then that's going to use one of the batteries to start spinning. Nothing's happening. We've got no exhaust gas temperature or anything here. The only spinning is from the electric motor. If we hit ignition, click, you can now start seeing the engine is coming to life. The what's it called? No, it's a PT6A. It's a PT6A. Sorry, I'm getting muddled up. So some things to look out for here is what these engine settings mean. So torque is basically how much pull the engine has got, and this is the the pull through the drive shaft of the propeller. If the propeller is feathered, there won't be a huge amount of pull going through that. So it's not entirely feathered, there's still 240 foot-pounds of torque going through that. And then we will start to convert that into forward momentum shortly. Let me just double check I've put my brakes on. Yes, the parking brake is on. The other thing as well that I always forget in Sims, but never in the real world, is to turn the beacon on. Now before I forget as well, we're going to put the pitot heat on, I'm going to put the windshield heat on, and I'm going to turn that to normal because I got icing on the way down and I nearly stole the aircraft, which was a terrifying moment. I will just turn down that. Can I turn... Actually, let's turn it down in here so we can both hear the same things. Sound... Environmental? Could that be it? Okay, yeah, so we can just hear the engine more now, rather than the rain, which is maybe better. I'm still struggling to hear myself over that, so let's just turn that master down. I'm sure you can hear me fine. Okay, so Mr. Tug Driver's back, marvellous. Let's go through the errors. So the starter motor is on, we can put the starter back to off. We can turn the ignition off because the engine has started. We can turn the generator, so we now get electrical power not from the battery but by the engine itself, and you can see that's starting to drain some of the power out of the engine. Marvellous. Internal inter-turbine temperature, so that's the gap between the turbines, is 600 degrees. So it's in the green but it's quite high. It's probably something I could be doing here if I knew how to operate this a little bit better. That I could do differently, but that's where we'll keep it for now. NP is the rotational speed of the prop, which is very low at the moment, so it's only 120 RPM at the moment. If I raise the prop lever up, does that start to increase? Not yet. Okay. So there's a moment where the aircraft basically doesn't respond to the propeller moving. I guess it's because we're not on the governor, which is something that I'm still learning what it actually means. So we shall come back to that in a moment for when we taxi. Okay, so we've got throttle is idle, prop is feathered, or as close to feather as I can get on this joystick quadrant, on this throttle quadrant. Beacon is on. I'm going to put nav lights on because it's miserable out there. We'll be taxiing in a moment. Starter motor is off. Ignition is off. And we have got power coming from the generator and alternator. Only thing that we have on here is the engine inlet is normal. We don't need to bypass that for now. So we're looking good. Oil pressure is a little low. So that was me just moving the throttle a little bit. So in a moment, because that tug's there, could I just turn? Yeah, let's just turn. What I'll do as well is I will switch on X-Pilot. If I hit OK. There we go. Would I like to install the latest? Nope. If I connect, so it's all set up, November 330 Alpha Kilo, and it's a Kodiak 100. We have a flight plan already in. It's not detected my strange audio setup. So I have a USB device for a headset, but I'm using my fancy pants blue microphone that I got during the pandemic. I don't understand that error message. Connect, connect. There we go. Excellent. So let's see what we've got online. I've got London Centre, is that near us? We've got South Approach, we might need to speak to them at some point. But we have nothing for Liverpool itself. We are going to need to switch to Unicom, which is behind. I'll move that over there so it matches your screen there. So Unicom is ready to go on standby. If I switch that across, there we go. 122.8. So that's all hunky dory. So we need to basically taxi out to runway 09. Let's see how we're going to do that. So press M brings up the map. We're going to turn around, we're going to go on the taxiway, we're going to go right to the end because we can, join the runway 09 at what is probably going to be called Alpha, but we'll have a look as we go. So that's all fine, that's in the green, that's in the green. I'm not going to push back, I'm just going to do a turn myself under my own power because I don't trust that tug driver. And because we are effectively pushed back, we'll drop 10 degrees of flap. Just trying to get everything sorted out to make sure that you can see things correctly, which I think you can now. Don't need strobes on, don't need landing lights on, you only put those on when you're entering the runway. I do want to know what the weather is, so WX EGGP, and I'm most interested in QNH 977 hectopascals. If I go to, where did I see it before? PFD, not standard baro, altitude units, we want hectopascals, and we then want to be able to change the baro, which is the outer, to 977, and that should put us on the ground. 977, that's quite low. We're in the middle of a bit of quite seriously bad weather here. So 977 puts us at around about just above 60 feet above sea level. Click on here, go to details, 80 feet is what it says on there, but that's close enough. The 80 feet correlates to the highest point of the touchdown zone of the main licensed runway, so we must be slightly downhill from where that runway is, so this is not disturbing at all. So what else? So we've got Liverpool on there. We've got the departure planned in. If I hit nav now, we've got the flight director coming on, but I haven't pressed autopilot, so it's still I'll still hand fly it. We just have so I'm just wondering why does that say heading not on? Is that because we're near buildings? Is it really that good these days that X-Plane will do that, or is that a failure of something? Tell you what, I'm just going to go into failures and fix them all, but turn them back on. Just because they are fun, but just not great for when you're doing a video like this. There we go, so the heading had failed.
Liverpool traffic, EZ14 Echo Yankee is fully established, ILS 09. 7 miles out.
Okay, so there's an EasyJet coming in to land on runway 09, which we'll have to watch out for. Let's just quickly jump outside. Can we see them? Not yet. Okay, so I'm going to try and do a 180 turn just from where I am here. So I'm going to release the brakes first of all. I'm going to apply the left brake. I'm going to apply a bit of angle to that prop by raising the propeller lever, and then I'm going to raise the throttle. And here we go. So the propeller is set so that it's not really providing a lot of purchase on the air. That sounds very loud to me. Hopefully it's not as loud to you. I wonder if I can just turn that down a little bit in here. That's a bit better. I do like this Thranda system. So yeah, you use the propeller to basically choose how much purchase on the air that you want. A higher prop setting means, it seems, more purchase on the air. And now we can just use this throttle as a standard throttle. You can hear it increasing and decreasing the power of the engine. Okay, there's the easy coming into view. Let's check in. Let's see which stand we are at first, just to give him a bit of situational awareness in case he knows the airfield. Number 1, that's very handy. Liverpool traffic, November 330 Alpha Kilo, stand 1, taxiing to holding point for runway 09er, Liverpool. Whew, that was quite a clean radio call. Oh yeah, hello Mr. Co-Pilot, you're looking as vacant as ever, well done. Keep up the good work. So let's taxi our way out to the holding point. So at the minute, because we've got, we're using the low idle power setting, condition setting, isn't it? I think it's called. I thought, isn't that what the propeller's called? Anyway, the red mixture handle as a Cessna pilot, that is currently in low idle, which means that we don't actually get full power anyway. In fact, if you look on the engine instruments now, you can see the torque going through the engine is 12 feet-pounds of torque, which is just nothing, absolutely nothing. So it's up to 40 pounds there, and then we're starting to get into the hundreds of pounds of torque, which is what you're going to need for a nice, heavy, stubby, but rather cool to fly aircraft like this. So Easy will be landing in a moment. I'm hoping to get around this corner and give us all a good opportunity to see it land. Oh, there it is. Did it go around? Is it a go around? Is it a go around? Nope. Don't land nose first. Oh dear, he's on fire. Looks like one of my landings. So, forewarning, when we land in Newcastle, and we will land in Newcastle, even if it's terrible weather, I'm just going to land in Newcastle. There is still a yaw problem with this aircraft. You land and then, well, I land and I'm all over the place. It may be because for some reason you have to use, I've had to use bootfuls of yaw to compensate for crosswinds lately. And when you touch down, I guess the nose wheel is touching the ground as well, and we just end up off the runway. I'm sure it's something I'm doing. I'm trying to learn what to do differently. And the best way to do that is by flying lots.
Liverpool traffic EC14, Echo Uniform vacated runway 09.
Marvellous. This is why I normally log into VATSIM when I'm just flying around. Even if there's no controllers on, it just adds a little bit of realism to the whole show. So we are an alpha. It's always alpha. It's not always alpha, don't believe me. Need just a little bit of a boost to, looks like it's a little bit of an uphill here. One of the things that first attracted me to X-Plane over Microsoft Flight Simulator, probably back in X-Plane 8 days, you've got to be talking 15. Stand 3, next to where we were pretty much. So the thing that attracted me to X-Plane back in the day versus Microsoft Flight Simulator X, I think I was flying, was because on Microsoft Flight Simulator all the airports were flat. And the first time I tried the demo of X-Plane, it had sort of lumpy, bumpy runways and all sorts of cool stuff like that. So yeah, so I'm just going to come to a halt here. Something that I mentioned on the earlier video that I recorded that was broken was that for some reason X-Plane doesn't seem to know that the toe brakes on the Cytec are progressive brakes. How's my audio? Is it a bit loud? Might be able to sort that out in post-process. So it's basically the brakes are on or off, which is why you get that nasty screeching sound when I come to a stop. But the rain has stopped, and it's getting blue skies. Why do we want to leave here? I should have done a flight to like Latoke or something from here instead of heading up into Storm Bogtrot or whatever it's called. So this is still showing us white. Before we go on to the runway, we are going to set the power lever up to high idle or height idle, as for some reason it's called. We've put the prop into the high prop setting, which means it's going to spin as freely as possible, and we should start to see. Basically, we want a torque above 1300. I think 1390 is exactly what we want, but we'll see how we get on with that. So before we pull onto the runway, strobe lights need to go on, landing lights need to go on. Somebody's having a conversation up there. We've got all our ice protection, flaps, transponder. Just making sure this. I haven't got any checklists at the moment, but I should have basically. So transponder to altitude, where squawking 7000, which is the VFR code. I am actually doing an IFR flight, but as far as everyone else is concerned, it's VFR. Not changing the code. That is all good. 977. We'll set that to standard baro when we're in the air, which will then effectively put us onto a flight level. Okay. A quick check on the approach path. No VATSIM labels showing up. Oh, there's one. SAS 6 to November, but nothing here. Liverpool traffic, November 33 Alpha Kilo, lining up for departure runway 09, Liverpool.
Lining up and taking off from the 05 left, Manchester.
And now the throttle lever is delivering a lot more power for a lot less movement. Look at that blue sky, that is stunning. Nice long runway. We don't need to be too conservative about where we start, but it's good practice. I take off from a very, very short runway. It's 600 meters in the Cessna, and you do need to make sure you're using every single inch of that runway. Screech. Okay, quick check. Co-pilot, are you ready to go? I'll take your silence as a yes. Let's get this bird in the air. Heels on the floor. Throttles to 50%. Everything's fine. Full throttle-ish. Try not yaw my way down this runway. We're looking for 70 knots, which we'll get very fast. 60, there's 70. She wants to fly already. Let's get her in the air. Wind off some of that rudder.
Manchester traffic, Blue Max 6879, stand 50. We're going to push and start to face the west of beam, stand 52. Manchester traffic. Manchester traffic, easy to follow with the landing number 05 left, Manchester.
Bring those flaps up.
Manchester traffic, subject 4, Lima November heavies, holding short, Delta Zulu 1 to cross 05 left.
Okay, we'll set an initial altitude to climb to of... we'll do 6,000 feet. We're slightly off course.
Manchester traffic, 6, Lima 23 are taxiing Thranda, Lima holding Alpha 1, master traffic.
So flaps are up. I'm going to turn on the autopilot and that's going to guide us back onto course. And I'm going to set the altitude is set. I'm going to set a vertical speed of 700, 800
Liverpool traffic easy 9900, push as fast and full, facing west, Liverpool traffic.
Apologies, that was very loud.
Manchester traffic, Osprey 2472 is going around, runway 05 right.
So this is looking pretty good. Our speed is well above the flap duration white arc. We're following our flight plan. Let me just bring up the flight plan. Plugins, Avitab, toggle tablet. So if we go to the fourth page, we are following the Pole Hill 5 Victor. And okay, so let's do a quick radio call. Shall we? Yeah, let's do it. Liverpool traffic, November 330 Alpha Kilo, off runway 09 at Liverpool, Pole Hill 5 Victor departure, passing flight level 35460 Liverpool. Okay, so we're in the air in the Kodiak. Lots of traffic around. Auto-orthos filling in some nice scenery for us down here. So when we get to... what's our flight level? Actually, it's giving us a flight level of 70, so let's climb to 70. There we go, 70 in blue on the PFD. Currently climbing at 700 feet per minute. The engine is keeping us quite nicely at about 135 to 140 knots. What's our next arrival point? 240 or whatever that is. So we're just going to do a quick fuel check at that point, or we'll put loads of fuel on, it should be fine. But 609, actually, yeah, that's fine. I think if we press... come down here and press system, do we get fuel totalizer? So used 61, so when we get to 24 we should see 106 or less used at that point. Okay, just checking our speed, checking the climb is fine.
Unicom traffic, EG36 Papa Hotel on the 7 mile final for ILS 05 right.
Okay, so we should look at that scenery. That is beautiful. Looking down on it, look how the fields end at the roads. They don't span roads like on the default scenery. I'm going to jump outside, hopefully it won't be too loud for you. Go this way, that's a bit less. X-Plane 12 cloudy. Look at this. Absolutely stunning. Big cliffs. I'm sure there's a good reason for that. Zoom in, no jaggedy wings, no, great anti-aliasing. Look at how the fields just follow the roads, absolutely stunning. Okay, I'll jump back in. We're about to go through a big cloud wall, which will be interesting. I do say things are interesting a lot, because I am very interested by all sorts of things. Oh, we're making a turn. Oh yeah, so our flight plan is actually going to quite handily take us alongside the clouds. No, it's not. It's going to drive us straight through them. Anyway. But this will be fun anyhow. We've got all of our anti-icing on. Like I say, I was bitten. Oh, I didn't put my landing light on. That's terrible. Didn't put my landing light on last time either. Don't know. Maybe I'm a slow learner. Oh yeah, so look, we've got our cargo in the back. This is cool.
Manchester traffic, this is Cam Force 4565 taxi for departure for the runway.
Manchester. Love it. So yeah, clouds to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. You're a joker, shush. Okay, so we've got our throttle is fully open, the prop is fully forward. Now as we level out, which we'll be doing in 500 feet, that will basically become the wrong power setting. It'll become too powerful and we'll start to see our speed going through the roof. To be honest, 700 feet a minute is probably asking a bit too much, but we'll level out in a moment anyway, so it becomes a non-issue. So as we watch our vertical speed start to come down, so it should lock on to 7,000, 200 to go. It's not doing a tremendous job of locking on to 7,000. Oh, the nose is coming down. No, I need to eat my words. It's doing an alright job with that. So heading up to Pole Hill. And at Pole Hill we are going to do a Pole 1 November arrival into Newcastle. Okay, it's raining outside. In a bit of cloud. That's fantastic, isn't it? Look at that. Just love this now. It's such a visually interesting again. Simulator. What's going on? So we've got quite a lot of traffic going in and out of Manchester, which you can see. Can you see? Can I zoom out? I always struggle with these things. Zoom out. No, that's zoom in. You nana. Okay, so Manchester is far to our south east. So if we look out of our right window, yeah, you can see all these labels on Joker's face here. Oh yeah, look, that must be the runway, the airport over there, where we've got lots of traffic. Lots of VATSIM labels. So we're in the cloud at the moment. Now that we've leveled off, our speed isn't actually increasing that much. I wasn't even on full power, so that's probably why. So what I can now do is, when we're at the cloud, is I'll start, if I reduce the power, and this is where things get really interesting with a constant speed propeller. The NP, the propeller speed, is 2,190. If I reduce the power, the propeller speed is governed and it stays the same, even though you can actually see our speed is decreasing a bit.
Manchester traffic, Blue Max 6879, via Alpha 1 by 05 left, Manchester traffic.
So, in order to keep the propeller going at the same speed with less power, the propeller pitch is reduced relative to the air that it's cutting through. So the propeller has less, I call it purchase, but less grip on the air as it's going around, less friction with the air going around. But that's kind of what you want. It's like the gears on a bike with gears. When you're going uphill, you want to go down to a lower gear, so you've got to put a lot more turns in to get the same power out. This is the reverse. We put less power in to get the same number of turns out. It's fascinating, really. Let's call it interesting again.
920 via Charlie, line up the takeoff.
Especially coming from a fixed pitch, variable speed prop, like on the Cessna. Keep our speed up because we want to try and get to Newcastle at a reasonable time. Let's just see. So where are we? So we're heading towards Pole Hill. We've got 17 nautical miles to Pole Hill, so let's put in a procedure. We want to go to arrival. We want to do the Pole 1 November arrival. Pole 1 November. Enter. And we want to load that up. Hit load. And after Pole Hill, we should now, if I go to flight plan, see the arrival. So we've now got the arrival, Pole 1 November, and then we've got the steps up to Newcastle. This is all marvellous. We've got nav 1 ready for Newcastle as well. And when we get there, we will change this from magenta, which means GPS navigation, to green, which means radio, beacon navigation, radio navigation. And we're going to set the course to 066 degrees, which is the actual heading of runway 07 at Newcastle. Getting a bit dark, isn't it? Now on the flight down here, this is all we could see for the whole flight. I say we. This imaginary dude here, who seems quite happy just with his own thoughts. Good thing with the Thranda is you can click on these, and then you get the PFD, or you can have the ND. You could have these on different screens if you've got sort of iPads or separate monitors plugged in. You could have these on screens beneath your monitor and just have a view outside if that would be easier for you. I'd probably spend enough time on flight sim that it would be a justifiable cost to do something like that, but yeah, I can still think of better ways of spending money than having 4 monitors on my desk. It's just not what I need. Just close these down for now. So our speed is 156, that's great. We've got 12 nautical miles to get to run to Pole Hill.
Is there intention to possibly do your best speed? Because I'm maintaining 170 right now and I'm directly behind you. I'm maintaining 170 instead. I just need to keep speed up.
It's quite nice just listening to the other traffic. That one's a bit quiet.
Manchester traffic 89, Mike Tango established, DLS 05, right 10 miles, 180 till 6.
So we are on course. So our course is 61, our heading is 68 to compensate for the wind. That's all automatically calculated by the aircraft. And oh, we've come out of the cloud again. That's nice. See a little bit of what looks like a ring road or something down there. Clouds to the left of me, jokers to the right. Very, very high altitude aircraft up there. What's that one? That's an Easy 20 something Mike. Bravo Mike, I think. Yeah, so when you're connected to VATSIM, so VATSIM.net, completely free, really good service, really good system. Lots of people who are very professional in here.
Quebec is fully established. We're 11.5 mile final for 05 right.
Yep, you can just sign up with VATSIM.net and then fly along with myself and all these other people, all these other plane nerds.
The 89 Mike Tango reducing 160 knots until 4.
fly along online. So I think I'm at the point now where I've sort of figured out how to set up the microphone, set up the recording and everything to a point that I think I'll be happy to do a live stream, and let you ask me questions as we're flying along. I am just a student pilot. I'm still training towards my PPL. I don't have all the answers, but when it comes to general operation of aircraft, and particularly simple aircraft, I may have the answers that you need. I think we'll do that for the next one, and I will fly a Cessna for that one, because I will be able to I will more likely have the answers for you when it comes to Cessna flying versus complex aircraft like this flying. Back into the clouds, so
Roger, thanks. EGNT Mike Tango, landing 05, right.
plenty of precipitation. So you want to be ahead of the aircraft, you want to be able to predict what it's about to do. We are 1 minute 17 seconds from Pole Hill, so we'll make a left turn in just over a minute's time. And at that point we should then move into the arrival section for EGNT, for Newcastle. What we don't have yet is we haven't planned the procedure for the runway we're going to land on, which is likely going to be 07. But we'll wait until we're on the arrival before we plug all that in. That's cool. You can see at the top there, to 24,200 feet above us there's traffic, and there's also lots of these black diamonds around the approach path into Manchester as well. You can also see Manchester Barton to the northwest. I wasn't familiar with Manchester Barton until I started watching Rory on air. He's a fantastic YouTube pilot. He now works for Bristow, flying the helicopters out to the rigs and back. But yeah, Barton apparently has the oldest air traffic control tower in Britain, which is cool. Some might say interesting. Okay, 9 seconds to Pole Hill. You can already see the flight director is predicting the turn. Speed is looking good. So going pretty fast. We've got a lot of torque going through the engine at the moment, so there's a lot of pull. There's probably something I should be doing here to try and make this a bit more of a fuel efficient flight. So we've just gone over Pole Hill. Let's pull up our so you can't see this, but I'm just moving the X-Pilot window out of the way. So Pole Hill, we should have used 171 pounds of fuel, and we've actually used 163, so that's absolutely fine. So we're, you know, within 10%. That looks good. We're going to have more than enough fuel for this flight because I have massively overfueled. Oil, T's and P's, so temperatures and pressures are both in the green. Ammeter is in the green as well. I'm guessing that means charging. So we've got the generator on, which is, I guess, all we need. Fuel quantity is above... Is that a half? Is that 1/4, a half? So that must be 150. So 75 will be a half. So we're just under a half fuel to go, and we're not really on a particularly long flight. We are on a particularly nasty flight. He's still living his best life. So the way that they're obviously doing this rain is they're sort of dragging some of the texture out into the rain, so it looks like it's, you know, the edge of the window, but you can see it's also doing it to the guy, the co-pilot, here, which makes it look a bit strange. There are still some little quirks like that around X-Plane 12, but I do like the effort that's going into it anyway. I'm quite forgiving of X-Plane 12 because its flight model is so good. It is, I find it's a lot more realistic to fly than Microsoft Flight Simulator. And I have used, as you can look through my back catalogue of videos, before I did my first solo circuits, and when I wanted to do some stall revision, I did all that in X-Plane, and it did improve my abilities when I tried it for real in the Cessna. Okay, so things have settled down a bit. We're just in the cruise. Not quite sure what the cloud bases are. It would be nice to maybe get above this weather if I could. But you saw how tall that cliff of cloud was. I'm not sure we'll be able to do it. And that cliff may be entirely accurate. Weather fronts do have well-defined boundaries like that sometimes. If I go into the map by pressing M, get rid of the details. You can see here we can change that to clouds, and we can see the cloud coverage. If I zoom out. So, looks pretty overcast. A little bit lighter around Manchester. Doesn't seem to get any better the further north we get, sadly. And if I switch this to next route, I think this is infrared or weather radar. So we're going to fly up here. Newcastle is just out of view up there. I've put Teesside as our alternate today. That's probably going to be easier to get into Newcastle than into Teesside, if this is weather radar and this is wet weather. But it may also get clearer as we get further north. Now I'm sat within 50 miles of Newcastle Airport, and it is very, very wet outside. I had to go pick up a tree that had fallen over in our front yard. So yeah, the wind was a bit of a nightmare. Okay, so the radio's gone quiet. We must be beyond, I think 30 miles is the distance. Oh, we're veering off that track there, off the P18 track, so I'm just going to check that we are following our flight plan, which we are. To Gokov, 4.5 minutes to Gokov. Okay, so this arrival really requires us to be a lot higher than we are, but we'll follow the same track that we would, and if there's any airliners coming in above us, then we can be sequenced accordingly by the non-existent air traffic control. Very dark outside. So X-Plane 12, when it first came out, suffered from very dark cockpits, and you can see this is quite dark here. What they've done now is they use basically where the middle of the screen is. So if you look down, it then lightens up here and it makes the outside really bright, because this is how your eyes work. This is now really bright, and if I quickly move the mouse up so we can see outside, we'll get a momentary flash. So it goes flash and then it goes darker again. You can see this. So this is exactly simulating how the iris of our eye works. So we're now looking in a dark area, so the iris expands. So if we look outside, the iris is expanded. It's not really in the right shape to have lots of light going in. So you get that flash of bright white, and then the iris closes. It's very, very, very clever. So one of the things that happened on the way down to Liverpool was the speed suddenly started to drop off. I didn't change the throttle settings, we didn't change altitude, but the speed just dropped off precipitously. And it took us a minute for me to realise that actually it was icing on the wings, I think it was. The airspeed was fine because I had the pitot heat on, but I didn't have this surface/prop heat on. So the prop must have a heater in it, so it doesn't get iced up. Surface, I guess, must mean the wing surface. So I'm going to jump outside. Apologies if it gets loud. I don't think it should get too loud. So you can see on the leading edge there are these black lines. These are either rubber boots. So rubber boots, which are basically inflatable, thick, heavy-duty rubber airbags, really, that sit flush against the wing, and you can inflate them, and when you inflate them it breaks off the ice that was on the leading edge of the wing. We call those boots. The other thing it might be, I need to read up on this a little bit more, is it may just have a heating system in the leading edge of the wing. That can come from, if you've got a turbine engine like this, you can actually pull some of that hot air out of the engine, called bleed air, and then pump that through. Ah, that's what the pumps are. That's what I think that's what that pump 1 and 2 must be, the bleed air. So along the front, the leading edge of the wing, there will be little holes, like perforated, like dots on the leading edge, and basically the warm air will just blow through there, get caught up in the oncoming air, and get pulled over the wing towards the back of the trailing edge. But yeah, that's how we keep icing off the wings. So there's a concept called flight into known icing, FIKI, and you've got to have your aircraft needs to be certified for flights into known icing. This one is, because it's got the ice protection. The Cessna that I fly doesn't, so we need to avoid clouds. We couldn't just fly through clouds like this if the temperature was below 10 degrees centigrade. And even when it's not that cold, you can still get other problems with icing. For example, carburetor icing.
26 miles north of the Manchester.
Okay, I'm going to do something that really bit me in the backside earlier on. I'm going to try and do a climb. So I'm going to try and climb up to 9,000 feet. Set the vertical speed nose up. I'm going to climb at 500 feet a minute. So we've got vertical speed. We'll watch this speed closely. Just make sure the torque and the prop is all fully forward. So we are maintaining 150 knots as we're climbing at 500 feet per minute. Is there somewhere to see the wind on here? Because it looks like, so our nose is pointed to the right, which means that the wind is coming from the right. Wind. Option 1? Aha, okay. So, yeah, I prefer that view. So you can see the wind is coming from the north, well, east-northeast. With a speed of 50 knots. That's quite a strong wind. True airspeed is 162 knots. What about ground speed? Is there some way of getting that on here? Have I missed that somewhere? Ground speed. Well, I cannot see it. So we've got Teesside there. If we need to divert urgently, we can get into there. We've also got some military airfields here, like Dishforth, that we could also use in an emergency if we wanted to. To the south we've got East Midlands. Where is the ground speed though? This is annoying me a little bit. I'm sure it's somewhere really obvious. There it is. Oh, what an idiot. 129 knots ground speed. So that'll basically be coming from GPS. Anything purple is GPS. So this is GPS nav. We're on a track of 10 degrees. Estimated time en route to the next waypoint is 3 minutes 53 seconds. Okay, so speed's decreasing. Torque is decreasing by itself. This is what happened last time when we got above 8,000. So do altitude hold. And see if that speed comes back up. See, the torque is just dropping. Why is the torque coming down? Must be something I've done. Something I'm doing that's not right. Do I need to bypass the engine unit? Ah! Okay. To be honest, not sure why we need to do that. I think it's something to do with the airflow, but I need to read up a bit more on engine bypass. I've only ever flown an aircraft with a fixed cowling, so there's no way of changing the inlets. But the torque has increased. Why would that be? Why would that be? See if we can logic our way to an answer here. While we're doing that, set the altitude back to 9,000. Vertical speed, climb at 500 feet. So if there is too much air, can't be too much air at this altitude, surely. We have a lack of air, so lack of air pressure. Does this increase the air pressure going into the engine somehow, so you get more power, more torque? It really does dramatically decrease the power of the engine. Okay, that's homework for me, and if you're interested, homework for you as well. Let's sort out the other procedure. So we are going to, we've done the arrival, we're going to select the approach, we're going to do ILS runway 07 at Newcastle. So our current route will take us straight to EGNT, to Newcastle, but it won't actually put us on to a runway. Choose ILS 07, we will do an NT1 initial approach fix, which basically brings us over the airfield, and then we do a teardrop approach, so we do a teardrop outbound round onto the approach path, and then we follow the approach path, intercept the ILS and land on runway 07. So we will still fly over the airport at a certain altitude. I'm not sure what it will be, we'll have a look at that in a moment. I want to have minimums called out, so the Barrow Newcastle Airport's 260-ish feet, so we'll get a call out at 500 feet, no, 460 feet, so 200 feet above the ground. Has this got a radio altimeter on it? So it's barrow or off. Okay. Oh, and it's reset. So we want to call out 200 feet above the ground, 460 feet on the altimeter, and that will then be our go, no-go for landing. So 1115, we will load that approach, and I hope it just joins it onto the end of this. So can I scroll through? I can. So ETSIs, and then you can see it's put the procedure onto the ND. So if we go around, we will continue straight ahead. Looks like there's an aircraft actually leaving. Why is there altitude? Oh, yeah, because they're climbing. That makes sense. There's an aircraft climbing out of Newcastle Airport. If we do go missed, we'll continue straight ahead. 3,000 feet. We'll make a turn back around over the airfield, and then we'll do another teardrop join, or we can enter the hold at I guess the NDB. I'm not an instrument trained pilot. I just know enough to be dangerous. So let's just see how far away we are. So we're there. Then we've got ETSIs. Let's do a quick fuel check. So XODRU, what should our fuel burn be? Fuel used 281. Let's bring up Avitab, Gokov, XODRU. We should have burned, so that's the last column, XODRU 277. And we will actually have burned a little bit more than planned, but that's fine. We brought a lot more fuel than we needed. Okay, so there will be an altitude that we need to cross. Oh no, I didn't mean to do that. Go away. So on the approach, 3,500 feet at NT6, which is there. And then I guess if we've got people in the hold at 3,000, let's cross NT at 4,000. There. This is not a bad system to use once you get used to it. Engine's happy. We're going to have to make sure, I think, we'll have to make sure that we go back to the normal engine inlet when we descend. Gosh, everything's modelled in here. It's really nice. Do you like it? I'll take that weird nod as a yes. We've got Scottish South there. They might want us to speak to them. but we let them contact us. So we are November 330 Alpha Kilo. Making good time. So Etsy's, and then we'll fly straight over the top of Newcastle. I mean, we could shortcut it. We could go Etsy's and then straight to CF07. That is one option. There is an airfield just to the southeast, a gliding site which is XCUR down here. I guess doing it this way means that we stay away from all of their traffic. There's no black diamonds on here anymore, so yeah, I guess there's no traffic around. That black diamond looks like it's making a crossing across the North Sea. Oh, that's quite cool. These must be SD memory cards. You just slot in. It's a nice detail. Just keeping an eye on the artificial horizon and our speed in the background. Shall we see if we can do a shortcut? If we do clear away out of that, can we do direct to... no. Nope, not NT. That's not what I was hoping to do. Ah, it's the outer one, isn't it? So can we do a direct to CF07, CF07 activate? Got a left turn, going straight to CF07. So we're basically skipping all this, going straight to 07. Marvellous. So it's going to be about 5 minutes. And we want to be at 2,200 feet when we get there. Why are we still turning to the left? Okay, something's not right here. We'll try that again. Direct to 07. Aha, I think our GPS has just failed. That's fine. I say it's fine. It's not. It's terrifying, but we will turn off the autopilot. We will maintain that turn. Just bring this up here just because I'm flying on instruments. I really want to try and get back onto a heading that makes sense without climbing too much. So keep that turn going round. Very strange that the GPS has just suddenly failed like that. But as ever, it's probably something I've done. I've probably not put that direct to in quite correctly. So we need to be on a bearing of 334. So I'd like to try and cross. That's 9,000's gone yellow because I'm just skipping above our altitude. If I cross the GPS path, is that then going to start? No, it's going to do nothing. GPS nav is completely goosed. Which is a pain, but what we can do is try and get our nav set up for the ILS approach. I found it quite tricky to trim this. Seems quite happy there. So what we can do is we can go back, CDI, localizer, and now we can change the course using this wheel here. So we can change the course down to 066. Oh, I've got to use this. Change that to 066. Appreciate I've done this the long way around. I'm trying to fly a plane. Mr. Co-pilot's of no use. As much use as a chocolate fire guard. 66. We've got a glide slope on here. What we should be doing at this point is starting our descent, so pull back the throttle, lower the nose. You can see we've got the ILSs come alive, or the VORs come alive. We are going to descend down to 2,200 feet. I've lost a little bit of situational awareness due to the GPS going down. I've been following this pink line, which I don't actually think is the line. Oh, it might be. Yes, it is the line. I'm going to use it anyway. So if I feather the prop here, There we go. So there's no air resistance now. You can see our speed is creeping up. Not sure that's necessarily what we want though. We want a little bit of drag from the prop, so I'm just going to put that back. Whoa, that was a bit of a drop. Sorry, cargo. So it's interesting, you hear the engine's doing a bit of work, the prop's making a lot of noise, but actually it's not providing a lot of torque. 54 foot-pounds, it's not actually doing a lot at the moment. So if I push the prop all the way forward, it's actually just going to increase the drag. We are quite high, so I'm just going to turn off to the left a touch. So you can see we're about to cross over the ILS line here, which is fine. So I'm going to fly straight ahead, and then I'm going to do a 270 degree left hand turn to join back onto C I07. Speed is good, altitude is good. Let's start leveling out a touch so we make this turn. Do a rate 2 turn, 30 degrees. We're going to hit that 2,200 feet very quickly, so let's just get that nose back up. Bring the power back up as well. Don't want to get too slow. Still flying purely in instruments at the moment. So we'll keep it 2,500. I know there's a little bit of high ground out to the west of the airfield. Don't really want to be climbing. Just want to keep maintaining that left turn. Sounds like a lot of power, but really it needs a lot of power just to maintain altitude. We are climbing though. Okay, so coming around. Here we go. I'm going to level it out there. Because we're pretty close. Bring the power back again. Try to get down to 2,200 feet. Can we put this into approach mode? Head approach. Localizer. Approach. Bit more power. It's probably a better power setting at the moment for this, or prop setting. Okay, so the localizer needle is moving. I need to be turning to the left now, trying to be getting closer to 66 on the heading. Looks like the flight director's behaving again. I wonder if we have GPS back now. Do I trust it though? Okay, so intercepting the localizer now. See CI07 there. We are climbing again. Reduce the power and try to get some flaps out as soon as we can. Reduce the prop setting as well. So 2,200 until we see the glide slopes. I think the glide slope is about to come in. So we could follow the... Try and follow this needle. Descending a bit when I shouldn't be. What did we forget to do? Put that back into normal. So we are descending. We shouldn't be descending. We should wait for the glide slope to come down and meet us. There's the glide slope. So if I put this into approach mode, localizer, glide slope, and if I hit autopilot, just curious if this will actually do a full auto land. Guess we'll find out in a second. Shrink this window. Oh, I can't shrink this window. Marvellous. Try and work on the speed a little bit. Get into the flap window. Drop 20 degrees of flaps. 75 knots. 70 knots approach speed. So we'll try and get down and stabilised. That was me moving the prop all the way forward because I think that's the best. I've read that that's what you need to do in case you need to do a go around. That gives you maximum go around thrust, power, whatever. So we are still descending. Ah, that's because I still have control. We haven't intercepted the glide slope yet because it's not in green. Gonna need more power. Ain't gonna mess about. If we need more power, we need more power. So, localizer green, approach path green. Now we just wait for the runway to come into view. Bring the speed back. .3 miles to go. Newcastle traffic, November 33 Alpha Kilo, 4 mile final, runway 07, Newcastle. So, just following the glide slope down. if we change our altitude now to 3000, which is going to be our go around altitude. 3 miles to go. Just going to raise up in my seat a little bit. Can't see the runway quite yet. Just zooming in this little map that we have in the bottom corner. It's very handy, that, so you don't have to keep looking between the PFD and the ND. Okay, 1000 feet, so we want to make sure all the lights are on, and the lights on. We've got prop. So you see red, blue, 3 greens. We don't actually have any retractable landing gear, so everything is as it should be. Red fully forward, blue fully forward. We're basically landing at a speed that's slower than I've landed in a Cessna before, which is just bonkers. If we can see the runway before we land, I will switch off the autopilot and I will land it myself. I will show you how bad at landing this thing I am. Alternatively, if we don't see it by the time we get our call out, which you can see is on here, we have our barrow go, no go decision on here, we're going to just land. Decision is already made. But if we don't see the runway by there, I'm just going to see if this will auto land. Oh, autopilot is disconnected for some reason. Runway in sight. Pitch is all out of whack. Well below the glide slope. Nice long runway here, so if we just climb a bit, get some valuable altitude back. Going around, just giving ourselves a little bit of an extra boost. Hopefully it won't yaw like a crazy person. In fact, we may even be able to vacate. So yes, we did stall a little bit on final approach there. Not a situation you really want to be in. I'm guessing the autopilot disconnected because we'd gone through our decision height. That would make sense. It doesn't have a radio altimeter. The only thing it knows about is our decision height. Newcastle traffic, November 330 Alpha Kilo, exited runway 07 to the GA terminal. So I've got full right rudder on there, and it's just not doing anything. There's something very interesting about the ground handling. So I've put the power back to low idle. park it at the end of this taxiway here, next to the GA terminal, where I actually got my very first Discovery flight. Whoa, that was weird. Okay. Time to shut down. We made it. We survived, more or less. Well done. You were no help whatsoever, frankly. Turn off the strobe. Turn off the landing light. Turn off pitot heat. Let's get the parking brake on as well, so I don't have to stamp on those very much longer. Feather the prop. What else am I missing? So flaps, bring the flaps up. They're electric. Strobes are off. Turn the nav off. Turn the taxi light off. Turn all the heating elements off. We can pull the fuel. Cut the fuel off. Turn these the fuel shut off here as well. There we go. And then it's just a case of turning off the electrics. Electrics off. Electrics off. Should have turned the beacon off. And there we have it. Welcome to very rainy Newcastle upon Tyne. Look at that. Look at the water droplets and everything. Just magnificent. Oh, even just the reflections of the water in the side of the aircraft. Brilliant. Love this flight sim. Okay, I'm going to disconnect. Close that. And thank you for watching if you've made it this far. I do like this aircraft. Highly recommend it. If you can afford it, then I think it's worth it. It's complex enough to keep it interesting, and even just learning the constant speed propeller is just interesting in itself. So thanks again for watching, and hope to see you again soon.